Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Jerry and I'm hailing you from the Antari shipyard, and today I'm doing a little bit of a different type of video. First off, I just wanted to say happy Star Trek Day out there to everybody, September 8th, 2024. This is the day Star Trek was released. But more importantly, I just kind of wanted to give kind of my thoughts on some of the upcoming Star Trek IP games that are upcoming that WizKids has on slated for release here soon. Um, but first, I want to tell you guys a story. Um, so I had the privilege of going to a an event for work a couple of weeks ago that required me to go to Florida for a week. Now, while I was in Florida, I did have a little bit of downtime, and I decided to drive a couple hours south to a place called DaVinci DreamWorks 2. This is, of course, the home store of Stephen Vandeventer, or Vandeventer. Excuse me if I messed your name up, but it's Stephen. Um, Many of you guys probably don't know who Stephen is. Some of you guys will know who Stephen is. Stephen is the force currently behind Attack Wing product getting made and sent out by WizKids. We, as a community, definitely owe him a gratitude for keeping our beloved game, alive for so long. But he's been kind of the main driving force behind all the new releases that we've gotten recently. And of course, you'll recognize his name from when he spoils the cards for us or shows us stuff of upcoming releases. Um, Very active in the Facebook community and a little bit in our Discord community as well. You can find him there. So I did drive down to his shop. I did finally get to introduce myself in person to him. And before you guys get too excited, I am going to say that this was not an interview by any means. I didn't record anything for this. I went in with a couple of questions, and Stephen was more than hospitable. Um, great human. Um, I came in not expecting to see anything and left 4 hours later knowing a whole lot of not just the past, present, but the future of Attack Wing as well. Now, I will say that I didn't sign any kind of NDA or anything. I didn't see anything crazy, and I'm not going to give away any kind of secrets. That's just not who I am or how I want this to play out. What I will tell you is Attack Wing is far from dead. There are mm, there's stuff coming. Um, the problem is WizKids isn't great at communicating that there's stuff coming, and that's for various reasons that we're not going to get into. But I will say, with 100%, no shadow of a doubt in my mind, that we are going to get more stuff. Take that for what you will. I just know that this stuff is coming, and it's going to be fun when we do get it. So, again, I'm not going to spoil anything that's not mine to spoil. It's not my work. I will leave that to Steven and WizKids to do in the future. I just want to convey my gratitude to him for keeping the game up and alive and keeping products coming and flowing. That's been a huge thing because a lot of people thought this game was dead. I'm sure people inside WizKids thought this game was dead, but we just keep coming back. And if we keep coming back and we keep buying the product, then they're going to make more of the product. It's a very simple formula, um, but it's effective and it works. Our job as people who love Attack Wing is to buy the product, whether or not the company behind the driving force behind the product is advertising it or not. And I understand that we're all gamers, we're all human, we get impatient. Um, but I promise you, there's more stuff coming and there's more stuff planned. And the more we buy the product, the more we give money to WizKids, the more we will get rewarded. And we are going to get rewarded. I promise that. So, the other thing I want to talk about is kind of the update on my feelings with Into the Unknown. So, Star Trek Into the Unknown, we've seen a lot of the press release getting jumbled started and going, and people putting out YouTube videos about it, showing off the demos, showing off the cards, showing off the models. But I kind of want to offer my thoughts here. So, David Montgomery and I, when this game was announced, before he passed away unexpectedly, we were very, very excited for this game, and we were happy to be kind of at the front end and trying to get into WizKids to kind of help promote the game and do reviews and stuff on it. Some of that stuff, a lot of that kind of fell through for other reasons that I don't really want to get into. Um, but the more I've seen the demo get played and the more I've talked to people who've played the demos, I don't know if I'm going to personally spend the price point to get the starter kit and review it on the channel here. Um, and that pains me as a Star Trek fan to say and do. But I've heard a lot of negative things surrounding the demos. A lot of people like the demo, but I've heard more people do not like the demos than do like the demos. Um, and the main reason why people are saying they don't like the demo games that they're playing at these conventions is that Into the Unknown is super complicated. Um, the rule book is going to be huge and thick. Um, the movement is clunky and awkward at times. The mission setups are kind of confusing with multiple systems on a map. Um, and keep in mind, I haven't played the demo myself. These are just the things that I've heard. Having said that, I don't. That's kind of my driving forces on why I don't want to put the money into it. Now, I will put a link in the description box below here because WizKids did release a Star Trek Day video for Into the Unknown. Um, but again, let's talk about that too because WizKids announced that the starter kit's going to have a Galaxy class, a Constellation class, and a Defiant class in it. All three of those ships, well, on top of the Dominion ships that are coming, the Battleship and the Bugs, those three Federation ships are all unnamed. So you're not getting the Enterprise, you're not getting the Constellation or the Stargazer, you're not getting the Defiant or the Valiant or the Sao Paulo in that pack. You're getting unnamed ships. Now, WizKids is introducing this blister pack where it's a standalone Galaxy class that is named the Enterprise D that you can purchase. It's going to have a different kind of paint. I think it was like a silverish paint job versus what the other model is, so it'll look different so you can differentiate the two. Um, and don't get me wrong, the models for Into the Unknown are phenomenal. The the saucer separation on the Galaxy class, awesome, cool, very very cool. My biggest problem is the USS Enterprise D was not involved in the Dominion War at all. I've tried to look for, I've tried to look for things in canon that say a Constellation class was involved. I'm sure it was at a fleet somewhere. I can't find one on screen. I'm positive that they probably participated in the Dominion War, but I can't for the life of me find one on the screen. So I mean, it would have made more sense to me to have, you could have had a Galaxy class, and of course, not name it the Enterprise D, not include Jean-Luc Picard and the Enterprise D crew because they weren't involved. Had it center around Deep Space Nine. You still could have had a Galaxy class with generic captains and crew. And you could easily take in the Constellation out and put the Excelsior in. Because the Excelsior was definitely heavily involved. You could have put a Kira class in, heavily involved. Saber class, heavily involved. Um, yeah, so that's just kind of my thoughts on that. I get it. It's cool. We're going to get a Constellation. Maybe it was one of the developers' favorite ship, and they were just trying to sneak it in. But to me, it just doesn't make any canon sense if we're going that way to say, hey, you can buy the Enterprise D off to the side and add it into your game, but why would I do that? Because the Enterprise D is not around. that's just my rambling. Um, Now, there is another game on WizKids' release schedule that's coming out. I don't think it has an official release date, and I don't know if Into the Unknown does either, other than October of 2024. So that could always get pushed back as well. Um, oh yeah, let's back it up real quick. I just want to talk about Into the Unknown again and the demos. So another thing that I heard about the demos, along with it being super complicated and the movement being clunky, there's one specific demo story that I heard where you had one person play as the Jem'Hadar, the Dominion, and one person plays the Federation, and they were playing the demo mission. And the person who was playing the Dominion is very much, he likes the Klingons and attack wings, so he pretty much embodies that. He wants to attack first, so he lined up and attacked the Federation first with the Dominion, and then he got penalized the entire game for doing that. For being the Dominion and firing first, he got penalized. And that carried on throughout the whole game, and he eventually ended up completing all the objectives but losing by one victory point because of who knows why. But he said that the game could have ended 5 turns ago because there was no way for him to win, and they kept going because they thought there was a way for him to win, and there was no way. So it just seems like it's overly complicated. The missions, from my understanding, the missions are going to be pages thick, not like back and front of a card and you can understand it. Um, there's just a lot that's going into it, and I think it's just going to be a little too complicated. I heard it's not new player friendly per se, so you kind of have to have an idea of some of the systems that are going on. Um, yeah, I'm not, I don't know if I'm going to spend the money, the price point to preview it on this channel and kind of go over it. I might still do that just because um, I'm really on the fence with it. Is where I'm at with it. Okay, sorry to backtrack. So let's move forward. Let's talk about the Captain's Chair, which is the next game that's on WizKids' release schedule. Now it's based on another card game. I think it was called Imperium. I haven't played that personally, but I've been watching videos on the Captain's Chair and how those things work, and that game looks to be pretty fun. Um, I'm pretty excited to get my hands on that. That game I have pre-ordered already, and I will be reviewing that on the channel and hopefully setting up some playthroughs on the channel as well, because that game looks super fun. And I can't wait to get my hands on that and maybe review some more stuff out there that's been released on it. So I'm super excited about that. On the fence with Into the Unknown, and super excited about Attack Wing's future. So what does that mean for Utopia and the TTS mod for Tabletop Simulator with Attack Wing? So I will continue to maintain Utopia and keep moving that forward and modernizing that as much as I can, squashing bugs in between releases and trying to figure out new features to get incorporated into that. Of course, the thing that you have to keep in mind with Utopia is the code that it's based on or written with is about 9 years old, and it's way out of date. I can't update the code base without destroying the whole thing, and of course, I'm not an expert coder. I can't do that. So what I can do is maintain and kind of figure out how to modify the code that exists or make it so it works for us. I would love to build a whole brand new site, but I just don't have the time or the knowledge or know-how for that. The TTS mod, Crazy Vulcan, and I still do work on that mod occasionally. Of course, that's doing a lot of quality of life updates and getting new things added into that mod to make play much more easier. That isn't going away anytime soon. That'll be hanging around. So if you're interested on the Steam, inside of the Steam application, you can find Tabletop Simulator. They typically it runs about $20 or so, but it goes on sale multiple times a year. 50, 75% off sometimes. But inside of Tabletop Simulator, you can find the Star Trek Attack Wing mod, and we have a whole community that is dedicated to playing Star Trek Attack Wing online through the Discord, through the Fremont Reformation Discord. We set up events and everything. So none of that stuff's going anywhere. We got more events coming up for Fremont Reformation, as I just alluded to, that's in the pipeline. So I hope you guys are excited as I am for the future of Attack Wing and Star Trek gaming altogether. Excited that today is Star Trek Day. Just happy to be a Star Trek fan and flaunting my Star Trek merch. Um, on top of that, I want to thank you all for stopping in and just watching this brief update. Uh, and we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care.